Untitled Darkness, written by Joseph Conrad, takes place during the heart of imperialism in Africa by the Europeans. Conrad writes how a character named Marlowe travels to Africa on a journey to the Congo River and exploits the lives of the Congolese. The novel faces ethical issues and is a debatable work due to the assumption of racism within the entire story. The story is told by Marlowe and another unknown narrator. The book tells of Marlowe's adventures in Africa and all of the cruelties he witnessed caused by European imperialism in the Congo. Many people find the novel difficult to read and understand thoroughly. Since Heart of Darkness is a hard book to understand, here is some of the historical background behind imperialism in Heart of Darkness. European countries have always gone off and made colonies in other countries and continents, for example, the Americas. However, Africa, for the most part, had remained untouched by European countries until the late 19th century. From the 1450s through the 1860s, the Europeans traded with Africa, but there were very few colonies. The three major colonies in Africa were Algeria, a colony of France, Cape Colony, a colony of Great Britain, and let us not forget Angola, a colony of Portugal, who also inhabited some of Africa, but however was not part of Europe. Belgium was one of the countries to try and colonize Africa. Their main focus was to colonize the Congo, a dense jungle area near the equator in the center of Africa. The Congo is surrounded by diseases and hot climate. The humidity makes a perfect home for thriving bacteria and viruses, many of which can be transferred through blood. Marlowe, who is employed by a Belgian company, travels up to his first station, where he will meet the company manager. He sees the Congolese being held as slaves. This is the idea of colonization for Africa at the time. The Congolese are made to be slaves by the Belgian people in order to help them with the exportation of ivory. The trading of ivory is very important during this time because of the unprotected elephants roaming throughout all parts of Africa. Ivory is a hard white material that usually comes from the tusks or the teeth of various animals. It may be used for medical purposes, art, or even manufacturing. However, this product is illegal to obtain. Due to the fact that it is illegal, it sells on the black market for a continually higher price. Ivory has a value of approximately $1,500 per pound on the black market today. Each poached tusk weighs around 250 pounds. This estimates their combined value to be $750,000. It was better to use the native people as so-called workers due to the fact that they knew the grounds much better than any European. During the 1870s, King Leopold of Belgium sent emissaries to trade with the natives in the Congo, Africa. His action sent the other countries into a frenzy. They wanted to join in the trade and wealth to be gained. This started the scramble for Africa. Leopold described his motives to the rest of Europe as springing from a desire to end slavery in the Congo and civilize the natives. But his actual desires were for material gain. King Leopold II of Belgium acquired the Congo as his own country, not a colony of Belgium. He got European countries to recognize his claim to the territory at the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference was an effort to avoid war. It taught European leaders to draw lines around their territories. European countries hoped to stall conflicts among themselves by giving the Congo a weak monarch and having it open for trade. By 1889, Leopold dried out his personal fortune by trying to make a military. In 1890, European powers gave Leopold the right to set, import, and transit duties at the Brussels Conference. Leopold claimed he needed to suppress Arab slave traders for income, but also made new taxes that were meant to put private traders at a disadvantage. On October 30th, 1892, Leopold made it so traders were only allowed to trade at a small section in the Casia River, including Belgian merchants, and put a labor tax on it all. The taxes were brutally enforced by the army and made it so the country was basically a slave plantation. By 1906, all of the valuable resources in the Congo had been taken. Berlin powers in 1906 had acted against Leopold, and in 1908, Belgium's parliament took over Leopold's private country. Under the Reign of Terror instituted by King Leopold II of Belgium, the population of the Congo was reduced by half. As many as 8 million Africans lost their lives. King Leopold II of Belgium murdered millions of people in the Congo and reaped the benefits of their suffering before his death, which was shortly after the Belgian government took over the Congo. In 1890, Joseph Conrad got employed as a captain of a steamboat in the Congo. Illness forced him to return home after 6 months. The company that hired Conrad was the Belgian Société Anonyme Belge pour la Commerce des Hautes-Congo, or SAB for short. However, Leopold got rid of the SAB in 1892, along with other private concerns. The river at the center of Heart of Darkness is called Zaire. The country is the Democratic Republic of the Congo, but at the time, Conrad wrote of them the country was the Belgian Congo, and the river the Congo. Conrad takes his experience and opinion on imperialism and translates it into the Heart of Darkness through Marlowe's keen observance and words. Marlowe reveals the hypocrisy of imperialism and the horrors that occur when one is given too much power. Marlowe sees the extent of damage done by the Europeans' thirst for power and wealth. The heads of natives are on stakes, and cursed mistress is dripping in opulent jewelry. The natives are used in this manner to show who is in charge, and as a form of intimidation for anyone who believes the Europeans are not superior. Kurtz is known to have gone against the Europeans and became one of the natives. This is important because it shows in the book the concern of a public opinion. As countries attempt to conquer more land, their appearance to others must not look weak, but rather intimidating. Conrad shows a clear dislike towards imperialism in his book. Marlowe represents a different side to imperialism that contradicts the corruption Europeans bring. Marlowe represents awareness and progression in a time where most Europeans view the Congolese as less than human. Conrad published more books on imperialism before his death on August 3, 1924. Many have since argued the clarity of Conrad's opinion on imperialism. It is said that Conrad has never stated his position on imperialism clearly, and there are several interpretations of passages trying to understand Conrad's attitude. Although Conrad's position on imperialism seems ambiguous, he did favor other forms of imperialism over others, particularly the ones that did not carry out as violently as in Africa and were efficient.